As a property investor, there are two key things that you need to get accelerated results. The first one is a pipeline of deals, and the second one is a pipeline of funding in order to be able to buy those deals. Many years ago, I was taught that if you get very good at finding the property deals, the money will come and find you. However, I quickly realized it's not actually that straightforward. I've gone on to raise millions and millions of pounds of other people's money, and some key learnings I'm going to share with you. In fact, in 5 steps so that you can have an unlimited supply of money for those deals. If you're watching my videos for the first time, my name is Saj Hussain, and on this channel I share with you my 15 years of property investing experience to ultimately help you get further faster in your own property investing journey. When I started very early in my property investing journey, I was really struggling to get results, and what I would do is I'd get good at finding deals and sell some of those deals on, earn a few pounds, but really struggling to try and build any kind of meaningful business. And then really what I'd learned that actually by involving other people and getting other people to fund deals for me and partnering on deals for me, that I was able to build something for the long term and also start to create some money from those deals. And this is really where I stumbled into working with other people and getting other people to fund my deals. And I've gone on to raise literally millions of pounds of other people's money, and still today I continue to work with other people in terms of funding deals. And in this video, what I want to do is share with you the 5 key learnings in terms of what you can follow to be able to do the same. And believe me, it's so much more easier now than it was when I first started, and you'll soon see why. The first step is awareness, and what I mean by awareness is people getting to know who you are, you even exist, and what is it that you do. Because hey, let's face it, you might be absolutely brilliant at what you do, but if nobody knows what you do, how are you going to be able to approach them in terms of them potentially working with you in your deals? So you find the people who've got large networks, large contacts, they'll find it much easier to raise money because they just literally know more people. It's really just a scale. It's a case of more people you know, the easier and easier it becomes. But everybody starts at the beginning, and the beginning generally is friends and family, by just sharing with them what you're doing. Then you'll see their friends of your friends will start seeing you, and then you'll become more proactive, go to network meetings, whether you're active in a online networking groups such as Facebook groups as well, talking about what you're doing. And this is how you raise the awareness and really become visible on other people's radar. Now, one of the ways to do that is really by sharing expertise. So what you're doing is you're sharing knowledge and expertise on something specific. Now, if you've been investing in property for any period of time, you'll have a certain amount of knowledge and expertise that you can share with other people and help other people. Essentially what I do on my YouTube channel, I'm sharing my knowledge and experience with you to help you with your property investing journey. The other way that you can raise the awareness is by documenting what you're doing, and it's more of sharing your journey as opposed to knowledge and experience. So if you're very early in your property investing journey, you haven't necessarily got the experience to be able to share, you haven't got that knowledge to share. But what you can do is share your day-to-day activity, what you're doing, the life of a property investor, a wannabe property investor, the challenges that you face, the successes that you get, and really the warts and all journey. And people really love to see that. And what not only does it raises the awareness of what it is that you do, so that people get an understanding, you become visible on other people's radar. Step number 2 is allowing people to get to know what it is that you do. So they might become aware of you, but they really need to understand more about what it is that you actually do. So for example, for many years, I focused on HMOs and flipping property, and ultimately I did that with other people's money. And so many people referred to me as the property joint venture expert, and talking about working with other people's money. So I'd share knowledge about that, and I'd kind of help other people structure deals, put those deals together. And really what I was doing is sharing my knowledge, and it was raising the awareness, and also people get to know what I do. And so then I created a tagline, if you like, in terms of a summary version of what it is I do. So when somebody meets you, you can call it an elevator pitch. I would say, when someone says to me, what is it that you do? I'd say I use my time, skill and experience to find fantastic property investment opportunities, and I partner with those I've got the cash in order for us to be able to do the deal and share the profits. So in a nutshell, that was essentially what I would say to people, and then really you either get their attention, whether they're interested in exploring that further, or they go, oh, okay, that's interesting, and then move on to something else, which is fine. That means they're not specifically interested in what it is that you do. But this is how you allow people to get to know what it is that you do. And so for instance, let's say you're investing HMOs in Hull, and if you're the person for HMOs in Hull, then it's really important that that's what you're emphasizing, you're saying all the time, so people get to know that you're the person for that kind of thing. So really, again, it's positioning expertise, it's sharing knowledge. You want to become the go-to person, the people that other people refer you to. So for example, if somebody wanted to learn about joint ventures using other people's money, I'd often get a call about, can you speak at this event? Can we do an interview on this? And it'd be about raising money and using other people's money and putting together joint ventures. So you become the go-to person, and that's essentially what you want to be able to do on a micro scale on whatever it is that you want to focus on, whether it's HMOs in Hull or whether it's building buy-to-let portfolios in Blackpool, whatever it might be. You have to make sure that you have some clarity around what is it that you want to be known for, so people, when they get to know you, they understand you're the person for this thing. And really what you're able to do over time is be able to build credibility as well by demonstrating, here's what I'm doing. People get to see what you're doing. And the easiest way to do that these days really by social media. Whether it's video content like I'm doing just here right now, or it could be much more short form content, things like on Facebook, on LinkedIn posts. It could be articles that you're writing, whether they're online, whether for other magazines. If you get an opportunity to speak, be interviewed, you want to jump all over those things when it's related to what it is that you want to be known for. And the reason this is important is because whenever you're working with somebody and people need to make a decision to work with you, really it's a sales decision. A sales decision being whether they should buy into you. This happens subconsciously, and what you're doing here is allowing this to happen in a subconscious way, so that when you meet that person or when you have that conversation with that person, they feel much more comfortable about wanting to work with you. So step number 3 is allowing people to get to like you. Everybody wants to be liked, right? And Facebook's concept, Instagram's all the idea of clicking the like button. In fact, if you haven't already, make sure you click the like button on this video, because we all like alike, if that makes any sense. So allowing people to get to like you means that they just feel, do they resonate with you? Is there a connection that they feel? Are you somebody that they can do business with? So you need to allow for that to happen. And now if people see you online in a virtual world, the next step really is to be able to meet people, speak to people, whether you're meeting face to face. And now, as we're coming out of this environment and sort of lockdown is ending and we're able to meet people again, it's fantastic. That means we could do those. Alternatively, it could be whether it's over some kind of video call like Zoom or something like that. But what you're doing, you really be able to look into the whites of somebody's eyes and have a conversation with them, for them to get to like you and see, is this, is there a connection here? And there may not necessarily be, and that's okay, because really this is like a filtering process. So it's much more easier for you to attract money from the right type of people, because I can assure you, you don't want to take any money that's available. You want to make sure that you're investing, or people are investing with you that you like, that you'd want to do business with long term. And it's much easier on the relationship. The results are much more successful, and it means there's just less fallout in terms of people running into problems with each other, because there's really a lack of understanding of values and morals before we started. During this stage where you're allowing the investor to get to like you, what you're also doing is trying to understand more about them, to see whether you can get to know them better and see if you can like them. Because remember, they've been watching you. They might have seen you at a networking event, they might have seen you online, they might have seen some of your content that you're sharing. So it means they've got to know you a little bit, but you've not met them before. So you need to also utilize this opportunity to get to know them and see if there's a match in terms of values as well, if it's a good fit. You want to learn about their criteria. Why is it they're looking to invest? What is it they're ultimately looking to try and achieve? What's really important for them in making a decision in terms of who to invest with and who to work with? These are sort of questions that you want to be asking during your meeting with them, so you can get to understand them a little bit better. You'll learn about their criteria as well in terms of what they're looking for. This will also give you the opportunity to really understand whether there's somebody that'll make a decision very quickly, or whether there's somebody that'll take much more time in order to reach a decision around working with you. So for example, some people make a decision very quickly and say, yeah, it sounds great, we want to do this. Other people, it might be that they want to sleep on it, they want to check with the spouse, they want to write a letter to their relative in Australia and get their thoughts on it. And so some people just take, I'm joking, but some people just take much more time than others, and that's perfectly okay. The purpose of this is that you can understand how they will work, how quickly they make decisions, how they process information as well. So whilst they're getting to like you, you're getting to know them and see if it is you like them as well, and if there's a good connection there to be able to do business. If you're finding this content useful, it would really help me if you hit that like button And on these YouTube videos, I can do like a surface level overview of certain strategies. But on this particular topic, if you want to learn much more about raising money and have some help and get me to help you in terms of raising money, I'll be doing a deep dive training program. Then make sure you just ping me a message and I can let you know when that will be launched. Step number 4 is trust. And what we mean by trust is there needs to be enough trust at this stage in order to be able to move, to be able to wrapping up this deal and getting something done. So there needs to be some trust building up. Now, people need to really feel comfortable working with somebody before they are ready to make any kind of commitment. And you need to feel the same about the other person as well, the investor. And remember what I said earlier on, this is not about, someone says, yeah, I've got funds, let's, see how this can work. You want to see whether it's somebody you really want to work with, because I believe ultimately, it's important that we work with people that we like and that are like us and they have similar values as well, because it just makes the whole process so much easier. So during trust, one of the things that will come up is also how the deal is structured and the security and how that's going to work. And there are really 2 key ways to do deals when it comes to other people's money. One is you either borrow money on a loan basis, and the other one is you set it up as a joint venture. With a loan, what you're doing is borrowing a fixed amount of money for a fixed period of time for a fixed return. And most people understand the concept of a loan. And with a joint venture, really it tends to be a little bit more woolly in terms of people's understanding, but essentially what you're doing is sharing the risk and the reward. That means that if it does way better than you thought, they're going to get more of an upside, and if it doesn't really quite work out the way you thought, they're going to have to suffer in part of that downside as well. Their losses are not necessarily fixed, as it were, so there's a sharing of the risk and the reward in that particular transaction, and that's really the key differentiators in terms of those 2 types of investments. So when you're speaking to somebody, you need to think about where they fit in. There's also other things to think about, like how you market for investment in the first place, and the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, they've done they've got some material around guidelines in terms of how you could raise money and what it is that you can or can't say and what people you can't raise money from. And I've already done a video on this around loans and joint ventures, and we'll link that up here for you so that you can watch that as well if you want to know about that in much more detail. But once you've established whether you're going to be borrowing the money for a project or whether you can be partnering with them on the project, it's really about the legals and the structure and how that's going to work and the security. And security is something that comes up quite a lot. But essentially what somebody's saying is, hey, look, if I'm trusting you with my money, if I'm going to give you this money, first of all, how do I even know I'm going to get it back? So that's the first thing. It's really about ensuring that there's enough confidence there in terms of how the deal's done, that their money's safe and it's protected and they're going to get that back. Then of course it's how much money they're going to make. Now, not everybody is driven by the highest return. Some people are. Some people just want the most amount of money they can achieve. Other people may want other things out of this. So for example, they might want to watch and learn what you do so they can do it for themselves. So I talk about this where I say, look, if you can come and watch what I'm doing so that you can learn to do this for yourself. Really I put that under more mentoring and training, but sometimes people put the 2 together, so they're tying up investing with learning as well. So what that means is by you understanding what they want, and that way, during this trust process, you can put together something that gives everybody ultimately what they want from this transaction. As you're going through this process, you'll be getting to know lots of people. People will be reaching out to you, sending messages to you, having conversations with you, but not all of those people are going to turn into your investors for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's going to be the criteria might not be right. So for example, when I talk about working with other people, I say, hey, look, I use my time, skill, experience, I find fantastic property investment opportunities. I partner with other people who've got the funds in order for us to share the profit. Now, in terms of that in itself means that people reach out to me and say, hey, look, I'll be interested in working with you. I've got some funds available. And one of the first criteria I have, it needs to be a minimum £50,000. Now, let's say someone's got £20,000 to invest in, I'm not going to be the right fit for them. In the same way, you'll have a criteria that you set for your investors in terms of what you're looking for from them, how much you're looking for them to invest, what return you're offering them, what type of structured deal you're going to do. So this is really a filtration process. So what that means is over time, as more and more conversations you have, you end up with a small pool of people that'd be interested to invest with you. So that leads me on nicely to step number 5, which is closing the deal itself. When you come to the closing point, you really don't want to be in a position where you've only got one investor to potentially have a conversation with. At this stage, really, you should have a number of people that perfectly fit your criteria that you can approach to have a conversation with. Your job at this stage is to have understood what your investor is looking for, what their criteria is, so that you can make the two fit together nicely. And effectively, what you're doing is you're making a proposal to them in terms of how they can work with you, how they're going to invest with you, and that should really fit like a glove based on the criteria that they put forward. So when all these things start coming together, this step is so much more easier in terms of the offering the deal to investors. And so many people I know struggle with this bit. They say, look, I've been speaking to people for ages. When I present the deal to them, they turn it down, or they take too long, or they just ghost on me. What you need to do is have taken the time to understand their criteria, so your proposal fits like a glove. Then really it's just a very, very easy yes at that point, and for you to choose who it is that you want to invest with, because you should have a choice of investors. And of course there are many reasons why an investor may not necessarily move forward, even if the criteria fits. Their circumstances might have changed. They might have invested somewhere else, for example, because you've taken too long to really come back to them. This is why it's really important you've got somebody else you can move to. It's no problem, you move on. And so you have a constant pipeline of deals and people that you can speak to that are ready to invest with you. So really, as you've seen, it's not just simply a case of you find great deals and the money will come and find you. To summarize the 5 steps that we talked about, number 1 is awareness. People need to know of your existence and what it is that you do. They need to be able to get to know you, learn about the type of deals you're doing, where you're investing, what type of structures that you put together in terms of the investing. They need to get to like you, so it means they need to get to really spend more time with you to understand if it's a good fit. There needs to be trust there as well, and that trust is really in terms of the deal structure, the security, and of course number 5, it means that it should really fit like a glove, so when it comes to closing the transaction, it's nice and smooth. Now, if you found this content really useful, then you're really going to enjoy what we've got lined up next for you over here on this video that YouTube tells me that you're really going to enjoy. But before you do that, if you haven't already, then make sure you click on my face down here to subscribe to the channel, because this way you'll get notified the videos as and when they're released. Look forward to seeing you up here on this video.